The Nigerian Labour Congress and its sister affiliates say they are set for a planned nationwide strike scheduled to begin Wednesday to protest against hiking the price of fuel. NNPCL had announced a new price regime for the oil and gas sector, citing market forces being responsible for the rise in pump prices in premium motor spirits, also known as petrol. Now, if the NLC make do with its planned strike, what are the implications to the nation's economy and Nigerians? I have with me via Zoom a public affairs analyst, Mr. Gbolahan Olojede. Thank you so much. It's good to have you join the program, Mr. Olojede.
Yeah, thank you very much, Tolu. Nice to be on the program.
Yes, I'm sure you're watching the screening of the ministerial nominees. Let's start on that note and ask you, for you, what are your expectations from this crop of professionals that we expect to work with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu?
Well, it's been long coming. We can hardly wait any longer. Just typical for me, critical roles in government should be manned by people with competence and character. Every other thing, issues around political rewards and the rest of them, that is fine. So it's the way it goes. For as long as those critical roles, we have square peg in square holes, we'll be fine. We'll be fine, essentially. It's been fun so far. I hope that some of the people might not end up being turned back. But I think the rigors are good. The rigors are good for now.
Great stuff. So it's a good way to start the week. Let's talk about the expected NLC strike. Many say Labour needs to have a rethink about this at this particular time, because there seems to be an understanding within Nigerians about the issue of subsidy removal at this time.
You see, one thing that we can all agree on is the fact that the fuel subsidy needs to go. Largely, how do you know the acceptability of that policy? Is the fact that literally the three frontline candidates in the last election all agreed that they would remove fuel subsidy. And we also saw that from what I can call some sort of support. This is probably the first time in a long time that a policy like this is coming up and there are no protests. So that's some sort of tacit support by the general populace who are understanding with the need that we need to remove subsidy. So as far as policy direction is concerned, that policy is a step in the right direction. However, we must now take the policy home. We have started on a good note, a firm, decisive step to say, let this thing go so that it doesn't end us in trouble. Having done that, we now need to go to all those other associated matters, issues around getting refineries that will work. So whether we're talking about the government refineries or the private refinery, we need refineries in the local market to work. Look at it this way. The last price increase, when things moved from 490 to 617, the reason that movement happened was because dollar moved. When dollar moved from official 462 to even 800 naira a dollar, or 750 naira a dollar, for a product that we don't produce in Nigeria, we import it, automatically the price will go up. So we must address issues around local production. We must also address issues around palliatives, or what I would rather call interventions, as opposed to using the word palliative. Intervention that will help to cushion the harsh effect of that policy direction that we have agreed is the right direction. So we now need to implement all those things. That is what I mean by taking the policy home. Maybe now that we're about to have the ministers resume, it might help to take the policy home, like I said. The various levels of government are already pitching in. So we see some state government who are trying to do some palliative. Federal government palliative must be rolled out. Even palliative at other levels as well need to be rolled out. The discussion, we must be, look at it. We've been having discussion for some weeks now. And what comes to my own mind is maybe we've not been able to agree on, let's say there are 10 items that labor is demanding. Maybe we've not been able to agree on 10 items. Maybe it is 3 that we've agreed on. Can we begin to move into execution of the ones that we have agreed on, while discussion will continue on the ones that we have not agreed on? But the danger is if we don't begin to step into the implementation mode, the issues around what we're hearing now about NLC strike will continue to come into that place. And we don't need it right now. It will complicate matter, it will set us back, and at the end of the day, it still may not achieve any end. So by all means, we should avoid it. Protest our fertile lands for several interest groups to begin to actualize their own agenda beyond the original idea of a protest. And that right there is the danger. The economy can do without the ills that will come with a protest as we speak.
All right, then, let's talk about refining. Many will bring up this argument and say labor workers are, well, staff are working at this refinery and they are under the labor union. These refineries have not done a liter of crude in a long while. So many say there are other issues labor should be looking at the moment, not necessarily coming down on government and saying, we're going to down tools with regards to removal of subsidy. Do you think there are other issues that labor should also focus on at this particular time?
Well, that's an interesting issue you raise. Of course, the workers in those refineries are also members of the labor union. And so essentially, they have also been receiving, salary, so to say, without pay. But then, if you give anybody salary without pay, they will collect it. I mean, without output, they will collect it. So I'm not going to blame anybody for that. Rather, what I will say is that we should begin to communicate the exact status of those refineries. I am aware that contracts for the revamp of those refineries were awarded by the last administration. For example, the third and last phase of the Port Harcourt Refineries Award should have been completed in June. So somebody should let us know exactly what is the status, has it indeed been completed? If it has not been completed, when will it be completed? When are we likely to see the first production from that particular refinery? Those are the kind of communication that will help to manage where we have found ourselves right now. The Warri Refinery has also been awarded. I'm aware that in the news at some point, it was reported that the contractors have moved to work. What is the current status of the Warri Refinery, and when is it likely to be concluded? The Kaduna Refinery initially had problems. The contractor did not move to site because the contractor was scared of insecurity issues. What exactly is the current status of that particular contract? These are some of those communications that will help to manage the whole gamut of problems that are in that space. But those communications right now are not being made, which is how I'm saying now that we are now having ministers, we are likely to have champions who can go there and communicate with the people on a daily basis on what is going on and placate them. Once people can see the vision, they can see where you're going, it is easier for them to understand. They want to see implementation. They want to see specific action. They want to see communication that is effective. Those are the items of taking this policy home that we must drive to ensure that things like labor wanting to go on strike do not disrupt what we're doing.
The implication of this on an ailing economy or an economy that's trying to recover is something I want us to also analyze. because we know what's been happening with inflation. We know what's happening to our currency. We know everything that is happening at the moment regards to insecurity, which is affecting agriculture and all of this. Now, if Labour makes do of this threat and kind of shut down for some days, the backlash is what I'm looking at. This will not be good in any way for the economy.
Oh, it will be very bad for us. In fact, we should ensure it doesn't happen. So Labour needs to take do a rethink on this. I believe Labour has been in discussion with the government, and government this is a time when that discussion with Labour has to become more firm and definite, so there is not a continuous, forever kind of discussion. It will only hurt the economy. The strike can only hurt the economy. That is the reality right there. A few months ago, for example, we had a strike by, I think it was one of the groups in the healthcare. That was just about 2 weeks before the end of last administration. And when I heard of the strike, I told myself, what exactly is this strike meant to achieve? And I was right. It didn't achieve anything. The only thing that happened was that a few more people suffered. Maybe some people did not get care during that period, and they probably died on their illnesses. You know, after that, we now came back to come and start having the discussion we should have had in the first instance. So it is better to judge than to war. Whatever we can do on the part of Labour and on the part of government to ensure that we don't we don't allow this strike to happen, should be done. It will only set us back and will not achieve much.
Well, interesting stuff. Now, let's now see, government has gone back with regards to the 8,000 naira that should be given to the vulnerable ones, and everyone is saying that might not be the way to go. Now, in your thoughts, let's see how government can intervene. Yes, I'm going to follow your words now. No more palliatives. Intervention with regards to transportation, CNG, and all of that, which everyone is talking about. What are the quick wins in all of this, and how do you see government aligning with these thoughts?
Okay, I believe we should quickly fine-tune the issue of increase in minimum wage.
Okay.
We need to close that out. Then the alternative energy, which is where CNG comes in. I don't know if you heard the words from the Ogun State governor recently. I think that was earlier last week. And that program, although it was still in words, but I want to believe that he has the intention of making it happen for the Ogun State people. He said, look, I'm going to convert 2,000 vehicles at the cost to the government. 2,000 commercial vehicles at the cost to the government. Apart from converting, I will ensure that CNG infrastructure is provided at the bus stops. So the implication of that is that a lot of commercial vehicles become converted to CNG vehicles at the cost to the government, not to the people. And the infrastructure for getting the CNG to fill those vehicles are provided as well. That is an example of a palliative that works. Cash transfer is neither here nor there. And left to me, we have to think in the direction of much more than cash transfer. Yes, cash transfer, those amount of cash, no matter how you look at it, as small as it could be, is impactful for some people who live in certain parts. But when you come to the cities and the urban areas, they need much more than what 8,000 can do. So intervention in education, by the time the school resumes in next term, there's going to be a lot of school fees related issue in this space. Drugs will cost more, so there will be healthcare related issues. So how we can invade, let me use the word, all those systems and begin to provide certain level of succor such that the burden on the people will be lessened will be much more effective palliative than cash transfer. And we must look in this direction.
Very interesting one now. So let's now look at market forces driving the price of petrol. That's also a discussion that everyone is looking at. We started with about 500 naira, and as at today, in some cases, it's even more than 600 naira. We can't control what happens in the global market. The price of crude might continue to increase. So when that happens, what do you think would be the fallout, or where will Nigeria stand when this happens? It brings us back to local refining.
You see, local refining helps a great deal. Like I said, the last price increase was bound to happen because fuel importation has ridden on the back of concessionary FX rate. If you remove that concession and you collapse all the multiple rate into a single window, and the dollar rate goes up, for a product that we don't produce, we're going to import it, and the rate has gone up, we will pay more. That is as simple as it comes. So local refining will help a great deal. Number two is that we will now need to get used to how those pricing will work. We've seen it in diesel. Of course, diesel went as high as 850 thereabout, and it came back to 600. Market forces. So it is real that the price of crude also will not always go up. We have seen it over and over again that it does come down. If it comes down, then the price of the refined products will also go down. As simple as that. By the time we start to refine at home, we will be able to manage the price fluctuation issue better, because a critical fluctuation factor, which is the fact that we are importing the product, will be removed off the table. Then it is also good if we can share the template, make it open, so that even the ordinary citizen who may be interested can already predict when there is going to be an increase in price. Even before it happens, you can see that, oh, this particular variable is moving, that other variable is moving. Therefore, in another 1 month or 2 months, there's likely to be a price adjustment. He can monitor it by himself, anybody who is interested. But as it is, maybe only very few technically savvy people understand the variables that are plugged into determining the price of that product. We can make it more transparent. Let more people be able to know when the prices are going to move. Did I, for example, anticipate that the price will go to 670 or they will go up in the last price movement? Yes, I expected it.
Interesting stuff. Well, we'll see how all this plays out. I must thank you, Mr. Gbolahan Olojede, for joining us this Monday afternoon to discuss this very important and burning issue. Public affairs analyst, Mr. Gbolahan Olojede. Do enjoy the rest of your day and have a great week ahead.
Thanks for having me. Enjoy your day too.